Welcome to another broadcast of the Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.
Would you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning and welcome to the January 12th organizational meeting of the Lorain County Board of Commissioners. Our first matter of business is the proclamation that I would like to read. It's in the matter of proclaiming the week of January 4th as Braille Literacy Week in Lorain County, Ohio. Whereas all residents of the County of Lorain must possess competency in reading and writing in order to be competitive, productive citizens, and whereas the people of Lorain County believe in the basic right to quality education for all citizens of this county, and whereas Braille continues to be the most useful I'm having a little problem here. It's to be the most useful reading and writing system for blind people, and whereas the National Federation of the Blind of Ohio has always been in the forefront of efforts to demonstrate both the usefulness of Braille and the critical need for Braille instruction for blind and visually impaired people who cannot efficiently read and write print. And whereas the National Federation of the Blind promotes the value of Braille through the National Association to promote the use of Braille, the Braille Readers are Leaders Contest for Blind Children and working with the National Library Service for the Blind and Physically Handicapped of the Library of Congress. And whereas Louis Braille, the inventor of the Braille Code, was born on January 4th, 1809, now therefore be it resolved by the Lorain County Board of Commissioners that we hereby designate the week of January 4th, even if we're a little late, as Braille Literacy Week in the County of Lorain, and urge all citizens to take this opportunity to recognize the contributions made by Louis Braille and recognize his 200th birthday and the importance of Braille literacy for all blind citizens of our county. And this is signed by your Board of Commissioners. I see a recipient, but I don't have a name, and I apologize.
Sherry Ruth.
Oh, it's on the agenda. You know, this is our first meeting of the year, and I'm a little slow. Would you like to come to the microphone and say something?
I have a presentation for you.
Come over to the microphone. Are you going to, oh, you have something for me?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
For all three of the
Well,
commissioners.
well, how about if I first give this to you,
Okay,
and then you can do whatever you choose.
alrighty. I have for each of the commissioners a keychain in honor of Louis Braille's 200th birthday.
Oh, how
So
wonderful.
I will give you each a keychain. And the first line is Louis, L-O-U-I-S. The second line is the abbreviation for Braille, B-R-L. And the third line is 1809.
How wonderful.
And we thank you very much for this proclamation, and we wanted to let you know that the United States Mint is issuing a coin this year, one of the two coins it issues each year. And this year they're issuing a coin in memory of Louis Braille for his 200th birthday, and it'll be the first coin minted that will have Braille on it. And it'll say BRL in Braille. And those will go on sale March 26th, and Terry Bradshaw of NFL fame will be our spokesperson. So we're excited about this campaign.
Thank you so much, Sherry. This is delightful, and I hate to express my ignorance, but I have never had any knowledge of Braille, so now I'll remember.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
At 11 o'clock, we're going to have our TID meeting. Under resolutions, number 1, elect the president of the board for the year 2009.
I nominate Commissioner Kukowski.
Second.
Any further discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Blair? I mean, Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Elect the vice president of the board for the year 2009.
I nominate Commissioner Kalo.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Yeah.
Boy, this is really going good, isn't it? Adopt the Robert Rules as parliamentary procedures to be followed at the board meetings during the year 2009.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Provide each Thursday of each month at 9:30 a.m. as regular board meetings for the year 2009.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Provide for the second or fourth Tuesday of each month at 9:30 as regular board meetings for the year 2009 for public hearings.
So moved, and we need to decide whether we want the second or the fourth.
I think they're both
I'll second, but I think they're
included.
both available, aren't they?
They're both available.
Yeah.
The fourth kind of works out better. I mean, I'm just going to, if there's no hearings, it'll be canceled. That's what I'm
Okay.
trying to put all the hearings on that date.
On the 4th. Okay. So moved.
Second.
Anything further? Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Authorize president, vice president, or member to execute all agreements, contracts, and documents on behalf of the county commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Appointing Commissioners 911 Review Board Chair for the year 2009 and various members.
So moved.
Second.
Are you-
And who would you like? I've been it. If you don't mind,
Right.
I'd like to continue.
Good.
911's all yours.
Okay.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Appoint the President to Lorain County Data Processing Board, Audit Review Board, Records Commission, Solid Waste Policy, Board of Revisions, or the alternate, Lorain County Children and Families Council, or a designee, and the Safety Committee, or a designee.
So moved.
I'll second Miss Everything.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
That would be you, sir.
Thank you, Madam President, and congratulations on another year. I do have a few executive session items, specifically new hires that may occur at Golden Acres, and I wish to discuss a number of ongoing bargaining issues with regards to our labor unions. So at the conclusion of our regular board meeting, I'd like to adjourn into executive session to discuss those matters both are permitted under the Sunshine Law. Thank you.
There are no Job and Family Services bills. I don't believe I have an, oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute. Yes, there are Job and Family Services bills, sorry.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Investments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
There are no appropriations transfers.
No.
Nothing? Okay.
Okay, we won't move in second.
Requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Did you
Discussion.
skip
Yeah, all of
advances?
them. There's nothing in the
Okay.
budget.
I'd just like to note for discussion purposes, Madam Chair, if I might, that under the Commissioner's requisitions, the total for blanket purchase orders is $2,185,471.04. And these blanket purchase orders are for gas, telephone, water, electric, and trash removal from the various buildings over which we have custodial care. I think it's important. People wonder where our money goes, and that's part of it.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Bills?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Approve payment for victims of domestic violence fund to Lorain County Safe Harbor, Inc., DBA The Genesis House, for the amount of $31,535 as collected by Lorain County for the period July 1st, 2008 through December 31st, 2008. Collection and payment are pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, Section 2303.201 and 3113.34 through 39.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Authorize the salary adjustments for various personnel at municipal courts reflecting the county's two-fifth share effective January 1st, 2009. In Lorain, Mr. Lozanzo, bailiff, biweekly rate of $792.33. Elyria, Judge Lisa Lockgraves, administrative, at biweekly rate of $973.08. Judge Munson, biweekly rate of $950. Oberlin, Sandra Cohart, clerk courts, biweekly rate of $882.63. Randall Widener, bailiff, biweekly rate of $480.48. And Avon Lake, Kathleen Avante, clerk courts, biweekly rate of $615.38.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Approve and waive the reading of the Sanford Lorain County Board of Commissioners meeting minutes for December 18th and 23rd.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Approve PSI Lorain County Community College's proposal to develop process and research plan, identify key stakeholder groups, and convey countywide design team, communications management, review and summarize existing studies, search and case study, national best practices, local data collection, data analysis, develop set of alternatives options, prioritize of alternatives, and road map development for stormwater management plan for Lorain County in the amount not to exceed $68,000 per the terms Ohio Department of Development grant.
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Yes. Actually, we've been going back and forth on this a little bit, just concerns I have. I've got a report here from Ron Twain about his comparisons of the two different proposals from Public Service Institute and then from K. McCartney through the county engineer's office. And all I would hope for, in the end of the report, Mr. Twining actually says the better of the two is probably the PSI report, but I hope they work cooperatively. And this isn't just in our study that ends up sitting collecting dust, as Mr. Twining has referred to it. So I'm hoping the governor's plan for the Department of Development was to implement a plan that works, and I'm hoping that's where the $80,000 gets spent and actually makes that happen, not just something to sit on a desk. So
And
thank you.
68, correct?
68,000, but it's overall 80 grand thing because there's some administrative money there too. So
And it is
Thank
grant
you.
money.
it is grant
Yes.
money, correct?
Okay.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under the engineer, approve and enter in a safety study contract with Mastermind Systems for sign inventory on township roads in the amount of $24,794, with the grant being $22,315, or 90% of the cost on a reimbursement basis to be paid from the MVGT professional services account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Under the sheriff, receive and file Lorain County Sheriff's Annual Report in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 325.31 for all unpaid fees for more than 1 year prior to January 1st, 2009, in the amount of $1,242,280.23.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Cortez, County Administrator?
I have no reports or discussion this morning. Thank you.
Commissioners report.
It was brought to my attention that over at Golden Acres that we're spending more than a couple $100 a month for Amherst Utilities Department, only because they give you a deal if you pay on time and they charge you if you don't. So I'm wondering if I know we have to have an invoice in order to pay a bill, but is there a way that we can get ahead of this game so that we're not paying all these late fees?
I'm sorry, Commissioner, could you restate who the company is again? I apologize.
It's Amherst Utilities Department for the water. We have two
Yeah.
water bills out there
Okay.
that we pay each month, and each month we're paying the higher dollar amount, which it's over $200, at least $200 per month that we're wasting because we can't get ahead of it.
I'll take a look into it. First I've heard of it. I can't see why we don't do an open PO, which we do for all utilities, and we can do a direct draw and a whiteback to pay the utilities once the PO is open.
Will that work?
Ms. Newton isn't here this morning,
Lisa?
but that's generally what we do with our utility bills, and you see them on the recap. So the turnaround on them is pretty quick. But recognizing, even at its fastest, our system doesn't move very rapidly. From time of invoice to time of payment is usually 3 or 4 weeks, and that may not be enough time on the utilities, but maybe I can work out something with the Amherst Utilities Department. The problem is we're not usually allowed to pay a bill before the service is generated, and so we can't prepay. Ideally, it would be perfect for us to save money by prepaying. So let me test the waters on a few things.
We can always make a resolution to allow that, can't we, Mr. Cortez?
I don't think so, Commissioner.
It's not our law.
One of the
We
things-
accidentally overpay a bill at the beginning.
Right. Well, there's always ways and there's always solutions. Let me look into it, but I know that generally speaking on these type of things under the revised code, it pretty clearly states that we're not able to pay for a service until the service is provided. Let me find an option. The savings, if this is as much as you suggest, we need to figure a more expeditious way of getting payment to them.
Right, because this site, from what I've been told, has gone on for probably 20 years, so can you imagine how much money's been wasted?
It's interesting to me, and I'm sorry I'm not aware of it, but I am now, so we'll find some way of dealing with it. And I'll report back to you.
Okay. The second thing is, after discussions with a lot of different people and other elected officials, I would be willing to second Commissioner Kalo's suggestion of freezing our non-bargaining wages, and also if we could open up negotiations with the various unions to see if they too would be willing to take a pay freeze for next year, or for this year.
Was that it? I was for it anyway, but I think we ought to have some discussions. Personnel matters, Jim, what do we do with the union labor negotiations? 'Cause I thought that was a discussion last time after. How is the process? You said there's a way of doing it, but we have to do something.
With regard to the collective bargaining agreement, I prefer to talk about that in executive session, which is allowable under the Sunshine Law. So we can discuss that issue to include the points I was going to bring up with respect to that in executive session, if that pleases the board.
Thank you.
Okay. That's the end of my report.
Yeah, Happy New Year. It's going to be a rough one this year, as Shirley and I discussed earlier. It'll be a tough 2009. I was pleased, though. County Commissioners Association new president, Carrie Metzger's appointed me to 2 committees this year. We have to work on the days that I'm available for them, though, because it looks like at least one of them's on a Thursday at 1 o'clock in Columbus, which makes it quite difficult. But we did get correspondence talking about the fiscal challenges confronting all the counties this year. When I was down at the CCAO and Administrator Cordez was down with the other commissioners, we met with the Office on Budget Management about the financial problems facing the state of Ohio. And it's clear the next biennium budget's going to be even worse for county government. Looks like local government fund cuts. But the governor has asked a special committee on county government management improvement, which falls against another committee that I serve on, to develop recommendations dealing with changes in state law for the General Assembly. Recommendation might be to have specific authority to allocate indirect costs of special revenue funds, which we've been dealing with for a couple of years now, Mr. Cordez.
Yes, sir.
That's one of the main ones coming out of the CCAO being taken to General Assembly. Recommendations for ways to enhance non-tax revenue, generate needed funding for programs the county has to operate. Recommendations how to change basic law in some areas that limit discretion of commissioners to manage the county budget. And recommendations that change state laws so counties can save money, similar to what Commissioner Kukowski just brought up, as to prepay the bill ahead of time, save it $200 a month in the late fees. I mean, there's a lot of things here. Our first meeting, though, is January 22nd at 1 o'clock in Columbus, and that's the last day of our sales tax hearing, so it doesn't look like I'll be able to attend that to give my feedback, and they're asking us to, if we have any comments to send in. I don't know if the other 2 commissioners have this paperwork. I can give it to you.
I just got it, yes.
Okay. You can send down suggestions, because we won't be there, but I hope to participate in February and March's meetings. So, be a difficult year. It looks like we got our final numbers in on our carryover. They were up about $700,000, so that's something we can work on also. I would hope in the next couple of weeks. Allocations and things need to be done. Yeah, end of my report. 2009 is going to be a very difficult year, but let's make the best of it. Everybody's got to pitch in and work together. I think Lorain County at this point, nobody's coming in to save us, be it Obama or Strickland. We have to take care of ourselves at this point. And I think we'll have some very good discussion in the next few weeks, and we're looking for suggestions and help. So I hope everyone attends the sales tax hearings also on the 15th at, what are you doing, 10 o'clock,
10 o'clock, I think.
And the 22nd at 10 o'clock, and then on the 21st, an evening meeting here at 6 o'clock.
21st.
21st, okay, thank you.
Is that committee headed by Dan Troy?
No, Dan Troy actually isn't heading. Kerry Metzger is doing it himself.
Because
That's the new president.
Dan Troy reported on a similar committee at
At
NOACA
NOACA,
meeting, and
correct.
it sounded like the committee that you were talking about.
Yeah, it's just another committee doing the same thing from the state side.
Okay.
Commissioner, may I offer a suggestion to you? A couple of the other elected officials I've talked to, a lot of the fees that are in the county that provide substantial revenue for the county to operate on have not been enhanced for 15 to 20 years or longer, while expenses and cost of administering those programs have continued to accelerate. And a few of them have indicated that their associations are lobbying very heavily in Columbus to get some of those fee structures changed to reflect a more modern cost. It may behoove us, to have CCAO also working in conjunction with those other associations.
Actually, CCAO is working on it. We've worked with the treasurers statewide and the recorders. They've done presentations. Actually, our own treasurer, Dan Teleric, actually was in Columbus speaking to that, raising the fees. And I actually gave the 2 other commissioners, I've got copies for Ron and Jim later, is our general fund revenues. I had Lisa do these last week for me. Thank you, Lisa. But our fees in 2007 were 6.1 million. In 2008, they were 4.7 million. For some reason, it says 6 million in 2009 estimated, but I don't quite.
Estimated,
Right.
that's what I said in there. that
Right,
we're gonna-
exactly. Well, those will have to be adjusted. But yeah, our fees, real estate, personal property, manufactured homes, which is all the property tax numbers, and then our transfer fees, recorder fees, and clerk of courts fees in the bottom end are just dropping off.
Yeah, I also know that Clerk of Courts Nabokowski indicated to me that some of his fees have not changed since 1991. So that may be one that we could add to the list for CCO. So, that may be something that can go on that agenda. Just a suggestion, sir.
Okay. Thank you. That's the end of my report. Commissioner Blair?
Thank you. I was just looking to see, we approved some travel for Dan Telerik. I wasn't sure just what it said. I thought it said that he was I guess that's just an ad.
Legislative, no, that's in charge of legislative functions.
Okay, of the OCCO, which
Right.
is the conglomerate
Right.
of elected officials, other than the commissioners.
Mhm.
I was pleased to receive an invitation and to attend the swearing-in of our new Attorney General, Richard Cordray. It was at the atrium at the State House Thursday, and it was a very lovely affair. His replacement as treasurer was also sworn in, so it was a very nice function, and I attended. I didn't see anybody else from Lorain County there. However, Dan said he was going to be there, as well as Judy Nedwick, who were there for other meetings. So they might have been there. There was such a crowd of people you couldn't tell. That's it for now. Thank you.
Receive and journalize and expedite a annexation of approximately 442.631 acres of land in the Township of Amherst to the Village of South Amherst, Ohio. Attorney John P. Slagler is the agent for the petitioners, IRG Amherst LLC and Amherst Apartments LLC. This decision will be placed on the agenda January 29, 2009 at 9:30, which is the 37th day.
Madam President, I have a question I'd like to address to Teresa. You said there was a question about there's no longer a question?
Jury's still looking into it.
Well, if he is, then I
We
question
still
whether
have to
we should.
receive and file, though.
Yes, this is just a mere formality that we have to do, actually. I understand there's going to be some objections along the way with regard to process, procedure, and scope, but right now, our only task is to recognize that there's been a filing, as Madam Clerk has indicated, with regard to the
But there was a
annexation.
question about the actual petition, and if there's a question about the petition, perhaps we do not need to receive and journalize.
You
It's
still
my
have to
question.
receive
My,
and
my,
journalize.
my understanding is that Amherst Township is going to file a court action with respect to the size of the parcel and future intent, that there may be some foundation for the fact that they're splitting the parcel simply to get under the regulations, where the parcel is likely to be much larger, given certain representations that have been made. But that would not, at this point, stop us from accepting the filing. That may be an objection that's made at a future time with respect to the annexation, but at this point, we don't have a technical defect in the filing that would preclude us from allowing the filing with us at this point.
No, that wasn't the issue that Teresa and I had discussed. It was the signature that we had discussed.
Correct.
Then,
Jury's still
to be
looking
honest with
into
you,
it.
that's something that I'm not
But we still have to
cognizant
receive
of.
and file it in accordance with the time that they filed the petition.
Even though there's a question about the
Yes,
signature.
Because that'll come at the hearing.
Okay, thank you, Teresa.
Do you need a motion?
I do.
So moved.
Second.
Anything further? Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
January 15th, I was going to say today's January 15th, but it's not, Thursday. At 9:30 will be the first public hearing at 10 o'clock. Wednesday, January 21st at 6 p.m. and this informational hearing. January 22nd at 10:30 is the second public hearing on the sales tax, and January 29th, we'll have the IAC meeting at 11. For correspondence,
I move the reading be waived.
Second.
discussion, Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Blair? Public comment?
Good morning,
Morning,
David.
Commissioners. Happy New Year. Congratulations to this year's officers. I appreciate what Commissioner Kalo had to say about this committee he's on down in Columbus and the interference with our public hearing on the sales tax. Because it's a public hearing and not something where you're making deliberations, I respectfully suggest that you're having told us in advance that there's this conflict, that you go to that meeting to get there on time in Columbus. I think you'll do more good for the county. At that particular thing, you can see the tape of what goes on here after you've left, but I don't think it has to all be done in your hearing, and it still gets on the record. And I just respectfully suggest that it's good that you're on that committee and you should go.
I appreciate it, Dave. We'll see how the sales tax hearings are going. It is the second public hearing, so.
We have to make a decision that day.
And we have to make a decision that day, the clerk has just told us.
I have to have it in Columbus by Friday. But you can choose what you want to do.
Kind of difficult. I had that last year. I only made the Government Affairs Committee meeting last year twice because of conflicts here, because it's tough to get from here on a Thursday to Columbus for a 1 o'clock meeting, no matter how many speeding laws I break.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I move we go into executive session as outlined by the county administrator.
Second?
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
All right.
Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend. Welcome to